Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hit.OR.DIE podcast. We're here with your hosts Jake Saldati and Chad Rothford. Our guest today is a Hanford legend, he'll say otherwise. Went to Hanford High, bullpup, Fresno City College, and drafted by the Houston Astros organization in the 17th round, I believe, or 11th round? 17th round.
17, yep.
Tyson Perez. Tyson, thanks for joining the show.
Of course, man. Thank you guys for having me. You guys do a great job. I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Podcaster himself.
Yeah, 1 degree out there. Tyson's 1 degree has had some huge guests.
Yep.
I mean, I know we have big guests, but he's had some really big guests on his show. Tyler Klutz, a local guy. He had Yastrzemski was on there. You do a little with Wiggins. You do
With
a
Wiggins,
weekly with Wiggins.
That guy's got some stories, man. If you haven't heard that, his episode, just all of his episodes, because he's a dude that came from, like the practice squad, trying to make it. He's grinded, he signed a deal. He's made money. He's had no money, just like Klutz. Klutz his story's crazy. But just the places that Kenny's been and the people that he met and his story, he's a very funny guy, but he doesn't take no bullshit. He's just all around guy. So yeah, those episodes are great.
Yeah, 1 degree. It's different. There's no specific sport. It's not sport specific. From Carson Macedo to Max Stassi's one.
Yeah. Austin Keene,
Tyler Brace, some I think it was a surfer one was on there too. So lots of different sports, athletes and man, it's good. I just finished Yaz the other day, and it was good. It's good, man. His story's pretty crazy.
Thank you. Yeah, he's a good dude, man.
And having to do it, we've been there. We've had to do multiple episodes with one guest before, so we've made that mistake.
That was the only time it happened too, and I'm sitting there afterwards. I'm like, my wife's trying to help me. I'm like, I don't know, I deleted it on accident, and she's like, okay, we'll try to find it. And I was like, it's gone. And I'm just sitting in the corner. It's gone. And I text Yaz, and he's like, oh, bro, no, don't worry, we'll do it again. I'm like, but it was so
funny about
good.
That sometimes the second time is better.
Yeah.
Because you kind of did a practice run.
Exactly.
And then you think about stuff you didn't do. Because we had to do that with a guest that we missed something that we don't know how, and we had to bring him back the next day, and the story was better. So
because because you just have a more of a feel for the person and what to ask. So the second time we did it was completely different than the first time, because we just kind of did the same thing. I tried to get some of the cool answers, about his grandpa and stuff like that. So I had already heard a few of the stories, but. He's a cool guy, man.
Yeah, no, man, it's really good. People need to go check it. That's the great thing about podcasts too. It's not like radio where you got to tune in from 3 to 6 to hear what you want to hear. You can go
anytime.
You can listen. There's a lot of podcasts now, and you can go listen to all of it. And they're all doing different kind of things. It's pretty good, and for this area to not from nothing to a bunch of stuff is pretty cool, man. You get a lot of different stories, and you kind of see some of the talent around here and how many successful athletes have come from this area. It's pretty neat.
There's a lot of successful athletes, a lot of successful people.
Yeah.
And if you're not looking for that, then you're gonna think, oh, Central Valley's nothing, Fresno's nothing. But if you understand and you're have a different mindset than most people do, like athletes do, you're gonna see the talent, you're gonna see the opportunities instead of the people that are just oh, this sucks, I just want to get out of this small town and stuff. It's no, you make the town what it is.
Right.
You make your life what it is. It's
before we jump into it, we've got a little bit of MLB stuff going on. So we had an episode 0.0, and we're just kind of watching the Baltimore Orioles, who had a 0.0
just beat everybody
chance of making the postseason. Now it's early. It's only 7 days, 7 games in, but they are leading the AL East. So crossed fingers. But Chad, you're going all in. They're going to make the
I'm pulling for them. I mean, it's hard not to pull for the underdog, And the Orioles don't have big name guys. They probably have a low payroll, and they just went in. I think they swept Boston the first series. I mean, how can you not pull for them? And I bet you they have 0.0 somewhere in that locker room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you've been in plenty of locker rooms. They probably have that somewhere, trying to give them a little drive, an extra push.
That's the thing about baseball too, is any team can beat any team on
Absolutely
any given day. Like the NBA, there's some teams that don't have a chance. The NFL, there's some teams that don't have a chance. Baseball, it doesn't matter because you can hit line drive after line drive right to somebody, and they hit like 4 or 5 little bloop hits and win a game. Like it's by far the most unique, the most fun game that there is. But any team can beat anybody. It's crazy.
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that. The 0.0 watch is what we're going to go ahead and call. And then last night, this is Friday. What is it? The 9th, April 9th. Michael Conforto, bases loaded, walk-off hit by pitch. Did you see this?
I did, yeah. It was a strike, right?
Yeah, it was a strike. I think it would have been a strike out.
Well,
the umpire originally was going to punch him out, and then
umpire came after the game and said that it was a strike, and I blew the call pretty much.
Yeah. So he owned up to it. I haven't looked today, but I saw the replay, and we'll put the video here on YouTube. But I mean, how does that get? And how is that not reviewable? I don't understand. They put the headsets on. Were they saying that this is not a reviewable play?
Yeah, it wasn't a reviewable play at all. They could the only thing they could review is if it hit him or not. That was the only reviewable thing. Was
because a strike is like a judgment call,
right? Right.
So that didn't matter. The review didn't matter, but which is funny because I was listening to the MLB Network after, and John Smoltz made a good point. He's like, originally the review was supposed to be for like an out call at home or a safe call at first or a home run, and it's turned into this
expanded
huge
to
thing.
Everything.
But then you have this situation that was it decided the game. It wasn't just like the 4th inning and it happened. It
was a walk-off.
Yeah, it was a walk-off. It wasn't like the 4th inning. No, we still got 4 or 5 more innings to go before we this happened. It ended the game. That should be a reviewable.
Let's hope that the end of the year doesn't come down to the last week and a game back. I mean, you can't be mad at Conforto, right?
No.
You're trying to win a game or get on base.
I think he felt bad too, because when you look at the replay, you see his elbow kind of come out a little bit more.
Went out there.
And in that moment, you're not thinking about let it just hit me because we're gonna do it. Like, it's just like a reaction because you want to get hit in that elbow pad. Everybody wears elbow pads, all this now. That you want to get hit in those spots than some other spot that's gonna hurt you. But you can kind of see in his face and how he was talking that he felt bad because it was a strike.
Yeah.
And everybody knows it's a strike. And
one as a pitcher, I mean, how you're not walking. You can't accept that. How do you accept that,
dude? What? That's just the crazy thing about baseball. You have a game every day, and you're gonna deal with BS all the time. Stuff's not gonna go your way. That's just how the game goes.
It goes back to that. We always tell our kids, there's things you cannot control. And you got to control what you can, and obviously umpire calls are.
Angel Hernandez is already in
mid-season form.
He was in mid-season form in spring training, but did you see that game the other day?
No.
It was just
you told me about.
They just had replay after replay of pitches, and it was just it was almost 20 pitches that he missed, that he called strikes that were balls.
He's going to be the reason
strikes
for that,
were balls.
That robo ump.
Yeah. Well, it's
coming too.
It is.
How can you not? They are graded after every game too. So how can he still be an umpire? I just don't understand it.
They're unionized.
Once you're an ump, dude, you can't lose your job unless you are fired or you do what Deshaun Watson's doing, pretty much. No, seriously, it's very, very hard to make it to the big leagues as an umpire. Unless somebody leaves or retires or gets fired, there's no spot for you. You can be the best. You can be the best AAA umpire in the world. If there's no spot for you, you can't go up. Same as you could be the best pitcher in the world. If they don't have a roster spot in the big leagues for you, there's nowhere to go. They have to send somebody home or trade somebody or release somebody for you to go up. So these umpires, they're up there. They don't really care. That's why you see old Joe West just doing it, chilling. His strike calls is just
he don't even care anymore. It's just so lackadaisical.
Wait, here's a funny story about Joe West. Tyler Heineman, I had him on. He's a pretty funny guy. He was one of my catchers coming up since A-ball. And his first big league game, this was 2015, 16, somewhere in there, he's hitting, and Joe West is behind the plate. And you know how there's a pitch and they'll ask the umpire, is that as far as you'll go? Is that a strike? What do you have? All that. And first pitch outside, and Heine asks him, is that as far as you'll go? What was that? Just kind of a quick question. And Joe just goes, not even moving, he just goes, I don't answer questions from people with numbers over 70. Because, you know, big league spring training, you have like 50 guys, and all like the minor league guys have like high numbers. And then, so Heine says, he just goes, touche. And then just, he ended up like striking out, and he's like, well, Joe West just struck me out.
Jesus.
What does he do with Aaron Judge then?
Yeah. Well, that's different.
No, I know.
Yeah, he's not minor
But,
league.
but we've heard that too, where the umpires, I mean, if you're not a veteran.
Oh my gosh, dude. One year I faced Ichiro, and I walked him, and I'm not kidding you, I threw like the best pitches. You know, Ichiro, like, I'm like, dude, this dude's a freaking man. Like, I'm throwing him cutters up and in, and they're like perfect. And Heine's actually my catcher during this, and I walk him, and then I end up giving a bomb like the next pitch, whatever. And like Heine comes out, I was like, bro, where were those pitches in freaking Ichiro? He's like, dude, they were strikes. They were really good pitches. And I'm like, what the fuck? He goes, dude, it's Ichiro. What do you expect? He's the best hitter ever.
Was it probably AAA?
No, it was a big league
spring
camp.
training?
Yeah, spring training.
Yeah.
Ichiro wasn't even swinging the bat.
No.
He goes, bro, like, he wasn't going to swing at those, but he pretty much looked at the umpire and been like, I just want to walk. So just goes on first base.
Yeah,
Next
that
pitch,
sucks.
bomb.
He had Castellanos. I don't know if he got suspended, but he got fined for his deal, which I thought was ridiculous. You go from let the kids play to he gets beaned and then scores on a pass ball and just kind of taunts the pitcher a little bit.
I mean, he probably said, you know, get F, that's on
Whatever.
you or something. But it wasn't even like he didn't stay there and keep going. He like said
Benches
something.
cleared, but nothing else happened.
And then they got up. It was ridiculous. I mean, Yachty pretty much almost destroyed the umpire.
We've seen a lot worse, is what I'm to get fined and whatever.
Yeah.
You have today coming out Trevor Bauer, multiple baseballs that the Trevor Bauer threw during his 4-3 loss to the Oakland A's have gone to Major League Baseball for inspection.
Inspection for what?
To see if there's foreign substances on them.
Isn't he super against that stuff?
Well, he came out and said it, but he's also said, like, hey, it's not illegal for a catcher or a third baseman, right? Because you've seen Yachty with the chest protector deal. And so he's saying, if you can't prove it was me that put in, there's no substance on his glove, his hat, in his pockets, is what he came out a while ago and said that. But they're taking some of those baseballs from his outing the other day, and they're going to check them out.
Do you think this has anything to do with him coming to MLB?
Probably.
With all of his stuff. I love it.
Probably.
I think it's great because MLB, all the like pro ball is just a business, and you're just entertainers. Like baseball is not baseball anymore. Like
No, I agree.
baseball hasn't been the same for me in 10 years. You're just an entertainer. You got to do your job. It's all about getting people in the seats, all that stuff. But for him to like go against kind of what they're doing and you like call them out on their BS because they want them to promote themselves, right? Themselves, MLB. So he's making the videos. It's funny, all that. But for him to maybe potentially get caught for using like a foreign substance when he's come out and did all this. But honestly, there might be a handful of pitchers that don't use something. You can't throw those balls without something. You can't. You're sailing it everywhere. You have the potential to hit somebody. You can't spin the ball. Yes, it might help. There's been proof that it helped, but you can't pitch without it. You can't. Those balls are so hard to throw. They're so hard. They're so slick. You need something. If it's dry and you're in like Colorado, you can't get the ball to break.
But is it noticeably different baseball? Like you notice as a pitcher, like you hear the ball's juiced.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
So as a guy that's thrown the ball the last 10 years professionally.
Yeah, it's way different. That ball is way different. And it's way better, in my opinion. I'd rather pitch with a big league ball night and day. You can throw it harder. You can spin it harder. You can make it move more. At the same time, if they square it up, it's gone. There's especially with like the launch angle and like big league umpires, you got to throw a good pitch. Big league wood, they got the best wood, like the hardest balls, and all the parks are getting smaller and smaller because they want homers. It's easy to hit homer. You guys, all of us right now can go like take BP and hit like 3 or 4 out. It's easy. Those balls are so hard. But like, even pitching with them is so much better because you can get the ball to do whatever you want if you have like a good feel and know what to do. At the same time, that ball can get away from you and you don't have any control over it. It is a different ball. It's a lot different.
Interesting. Good take too. We've talked to Marcus about it too, and everybody's kind of said the same thing.
That's why they brought the big league balls to AAA because like you have the minor league ball that's more juice than a high school ball or a college ball, smaller seams, harder, a little bit bigger, all that. But then you go to the big leagues, completely different ball. Like it feels different, and it's almost like they rub them up to make them more slick. Like it's hard. Do you remember when the Astros won the World Series and they were talking about the balls and like Verlander was trying to sign one, couldn't even like sign it? Like those, I'm telling you, they're without something you can't pitch. That's why they've been trying to figure out how to get rid of that, like keeping the ball the same but give it a little bit more grip, kind of mess with the Japanese ball, trying to get like to take the substance away, because all the umpires know. All the umpires know everybody has something. Just as long as you're not blatantly obvious about it, you're not gonna get caught. Every manager knows. No manager is gonna send a guy out, unless it's just blatantly obvious, to say, hey, check this guy, he's got something. Because the other manager is gonna send him out on his pitcher because they all know that they have it. They just hide it well, or it's just a small substance. It's not like everybody has the crazy pine tar super sticky. It's not like that. It's just something little, just little like tricks that you have just to be able to feel the ball. And it's feeling. It's not making your pitches better. It's just to be able to feel the ball. That's it.
Well, plus you could probably throw out almost half of the catchers in the league, because if you look at their shin guards, a lot of them have pine tar
outfielders
on
too.
their guards.
Yeah.
And they
outfielders,
wipe it.
if you look at outfielders' glove, it's full of it all over. They have it on there, and they need it to throw the ball. A catcher can't throw the ball down to second without it. They have it on their shin guards. They have it on their gloves. A lot of infielders have it to throw it, because that's the worst thing. You get in a routine ground ball and you sail one because those like balls are slick.
And you're using so many new balls throughout a game.
Yeah.
It's got to be difficult.
Yeah, because once that ball gets a scuff, you got to get rid of it. Because pitcher that knows how to use a scuff, he could do some damage. Those balls freaking move, man.
What do they use? The A10-10s? Get some of those up there. Some Wilsons.
That would make the game interesting. Change the balls. Change the balls, a whole new game.
And then obviously the biggest news, which we'll probably get into on maybe next week or another episode, is the All-Star game getting moved. That's neither here nor there. We can get in that later.
Me and Chad both were silent on that.
I mean, all I'm saying is
I'll leave that for you guys to talk
about.
about.
Politics just need to stay out of it.
But you've said that even with like when basketball was doing stuff, out of sports. Because
MLB should not care what anybody, governor or anything that does in their own state that has nothing to do with baseball. That's what I get.
Yeah, politics mixing with sports is...
Yeah, and that goes for any state. I don't care. I'm not just saying Georgia's the only one because it's coming out there right now.
Right?
But I don't care what any governor does. It's not supposed to affect the major league.
We've stayed away from political conversation because you're not going to win those.
No.
In commentary.
And that's where we've talked about Papagni being, hit hard because he does. Yeah. He's not afraid.
He's also gotten a lot of support for his views as 100%. Well. So, and I appreciate him coming out and saying how he feels. It's rare. We haven't done it.
You have to.
We haven't done it.
Just let Chad let the reins go on him a little bit. He'll get after it. You have to be like somewhat controversial if you want to grow, if you want to blow up, if you want to be the biggest names. Sure. Joe Rogan deals with BS comments all day about the guests he has, about what he says, and he's the most like in the middle, even fair guy that there is. And people come at him every episode. Like millions and millions of people are listening, but if you listen, everything that he says is true. And if everybody was like that, the world would be such a better place. But no, you have to please a few people. You don't want to hurt some people's feelings, so people get scared because of you don't want to say it. But you have to be somewhat controversial if you want to get huge or blow up. You're always going to deal with BS. You're always going to deal with people trying to bring you down or haters or whatever, because it makes them feel comfortable about their current situation. Like that,
for sure,
that just is what it is. You can get into it for hours and hours about what's right and wrong. Nobody has the answers. Nobody knows. It's just live your life and worry about your damn self. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think the main reason we don't is because I still coach, and I don't want to do anything to disrespect our school district.
I mean, yeah, if
our admin.
If this was our only job, it would be different probably.
Yeah, I think
this is the only thing we did,
we'd be a little more loose with it, and it's coming. Those days are coming.
All hell's been breaking.
So we'll see, and we'll get into that later.
Those reigns will be no more, Tyson.
But we have Tyson Perez here.
Yeah,
and again, Hanford High What year did you graduate?
2008.
8? When did you guys go back to back?
9 and 10.
It was 9 and 10.
Beautiful.
But he helped set that foundation.
He did.
for those guys.
100.
Not really, no, because we all left. we had the best, like, dude, since I was a freshman, we had the best team that's ever seen, probably since, like, Tim Scott and all those guys, which Tim was a pitching coach when I was there as a senior. All the talents in the world. All of us left, Brandon King, Dustin, me, all those guys, great players. We all leave, and then Tim comes in, and they go back-to-back, win it.
They could break, man.
Yeah, they were good, man, because they have confidence. You put a confident coach with some decent players, and it all rubs off. That's how you win at this level. It's just about giving the kids confidence, and that's the problem Dalton's having right now. Is his kids at Hanford High don't believe that they can beat the Clovis schools, so they walk in against Bullard, against Clovis North, and all these teams, and they're just expected to lose because they think that that's what they're supposed to do. Us, when I was there, we showed up to beat them, and we knew that we can beat them. We showed up like we're going to prove what Hanford baseball is all about. Now he's like, dude, we have this problem because these kids walk in and they just expect that they're just supposed to lose. If they don't lose by a lot, that's like a win for them.
Right.
And it's I can't teach them how to be competitive. It's just grown. So it's a little bit of a struggle for him being there, winning championship after championship, and being a coach that's won a lot and then having to deal with this. So a little bit of learning curve for him.
Well, hopefully they beat Clovis West yesterday.
Yeah, last night.
Yeah.
They got the big win, so there's a little momentum from that.
That gets the confidence going, not only with the players but with the community.
With everything, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, but being from Hanford and maybe considered more of a small school, so you go to city. I tend to see more kids that are smaller school guys that maybe don't get a lot of spotlight. Tend to open eyes when they get to places like that. I'm like, oh, who's this? Where'd this guy come? Who's this guy? I haven't been with this guy. Well, I've been here the whole time. Did playing in Hanford, being in a smaller community, having to probably work a little harder, right? Not so catered, I'm sure, a little more blue collar. Did you find that when you got to city, like maybe you were a little step ahead in some areas than guys from Clovis or Buchanan or West or what's?
Kinda, yeah. But I mean, my story was kind of the opposite of most kids that come from a small school, because like I was recruited heavily to play at a lot of D1s since I was a junior in high school, and like I couldn't go because of my grades. Not that I had bad grades, but like baseball doesn't have very many scholarships, so they want to get you as much outside money as they can. All this. So I talked to a lot of schools, went on some visits, went to Cal Poly, went to Fresno State, and was trying to walk on at Fresno State just because they didn't have money. They were like, we know you can be on the team, all this, you earn a scholarship next year, because there's not very many, and they got to pay the guys that they already have. And then it just didn't work out. I couldn't get all my grades like kind of situated with transfers and all that. So my only option was city. So I called up Coach Scott this is probably like July, like in that summer after my senior year, like, hey, can I still come? Like, what do I got to do? And he's like, yeah, come tomorrow. I'll meet you here at the school. All this. He met me, got my classes set up, everything, like bing, bing, bing. And yeah, then I was playing. But city is not like a normal junior college. It's you know that there are dudes that go there, and you have a chance to get drafted. You're for sure going to a good college after that. So I never felt like I was in a bad spot, or I was a small town kid coming from somewhere I had to prove. I went to the area code games. I went to the perfect games. And I played with some of the best players in the world. So I kind of got down on myself a little bit because, you were like all this, and now you're at city. But I mean, it was a blessing, obviously. Like I learned more there, playing for Coach Solberg and just learning how to play baseball, even though it's not like a Division I college and you don't get to do all the stuff that most colleges do. You kind of feel like it's upgrade from high school, but the talent is just like through the roof. There's so many good players that go to City, and yeah, I was just lucky enough to be one of them.
Yeah, Chad knows the city life, and you know, you find that some of those, you know, you're being around a bunch of guys that are choosing to play, right? It's not high school. It's not, this is what you have to work with. Kind of push you a little more.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, I've been blessed with, you know, athletic ability and talent. So I've always been better than most people at everything that I did, especially coming from Hanford. You know, you're like always the best. So getting that, you know, initial kind of, hey, you're now a good player with a lot of other good players. Like you have to earn a spot, you have to earn your playing time, and once that kind of kicked in for me, then that's when, like I started to get a lot better. I started to learn, kind of like how to play, but then I was still just playing on my talents. I didn't really learn very much there. Not that there's not great coaches. It's just you learn more from yourself and what you do and your failures and everything than you do from any coach or anybody telling you. So I didn't really learn very much about me or about, you know, getting better or playing the game of baseball until I got to pro ball. Because I was just playing on my talents then. You know, like I had a really good curveball. I could throw 90, 91 when not very many people can, especially like at that level. I could throw strikes, and I just played on my talents. So when I did struggle there a little bit, I didn't know how to react. I thought, like, I went from, I'm the greatest, I had a bad game, to like, I'm the worst pitcher ever. I can't even play at City College. You just think that you're the worst. And just because you don't learn how to fail until you get older and you fail, especially in pro ball like that. Pro ball is the hardest. Baseball is the hardest sport by far. It's hard to play, but it makes it hard because you're playing every single day, and you have to learn on the fly. You have to learn on your own. You have to learn how to fail, and that's it. So I didn't really learn very much until I got into pro ball. I was just playing on my talents at City.
Well, I was going to say the same thing you were probably. Speaking of pro ball, the draft story.
You read my mind.
We're freaking there, you know? Yeah, go through that with us. Go through that, your draft story and what that was like.
Yeah, so my second year there at City, I pitched pretty good. I went on a bunch of visits. I was committed to SC. I was thinking I was a big shot, right? Walking around like my shit don't stink. It was very, very humbling experience because I'm talking to scouts saying that I'm gonna go like the first 5 rounds. You know, like get an advisor, all this. Tell them I want all this money. You know, I want like 6 years for USC, even though I'm only going to be there for like 2 years. I thought I was a big shot. I was an idiot. That's what I was. I didn't know. I was dumb. And then so I pretty much like priced myself out of a potential of getting drafted higher and all that. But I didn't really do much like on that day. After like the second, third round went, because, you know, all of us think we're going to go like in the top 2 rounds because all the scouts lie to you. Right? Oh, yeah, we're going to pick you. We're going to pick you. And then you're just like, oh, yeah, like round 5, nothing. And then I didn't get drafted. I just, you know, started to feel sorry for myself. Like, oh, what happened? All this, poor me. And then I actually got a text from one of the guys that he used to go out to, I think he was your age. He used to go out to City and like hit and pitch. He's like a pitcher, hitter type of a guy that would always go out there. I can't remember his name right now.
Johnny Alcina?
No, a different guy. Anyways, he actually texted me saying like, oh, Astros 17th round. Awesome. Congratulations. And I was outside. I was like, what? And then all of a sudden, like I was getting like phone call after phone call and all this. And then like I was super happy and excited, but then I was kind of bummed just because of what I put in my own head. You know, thinking I was better than everybody else, thinking that I was like, you know, some great hot shot and all this stuff. And I got humbled quick. Not that going to the 17th round, like getting drafted, period, is amazing. You know, like I still got a pretty decent signing bonus, you know, like kind of close to what I wanted and stuff, but like I got humbled quick. But yeah, there's nothing really crazy about it. But the draft process, it's weird because you have no idea. Like the NFL and the NBA, you have a pretty good idea. Right. Baseball, outside of the first round, you can go top 5, or you can
crapshoot,
or you can not get drafted.
Yeah.
And because it's based on where this guy's going to college, how much money they have for slot, how much money this kid's asking for, where is he going? Are we going to be able to keep an eye on him at his school? Whatever it is, there's a lot more that goes into it than any other sport, and that's why baseball is so unique.
So you do get into pro ball, and I noticed, you go and you start the first couple of years, and for whatever reason, I didn't. You can just talk about why, but transferring into a relief pitcher, and one just that happening, but accepting that role.
Yeah, so pretty much so they want their guys to be starters. Doesn't matter if they see you being a starter in the big leagues or not. If they draft you and they see you for their future, you're going to be a starter, whether you were in college or not, just because you get more reps, you get more practice. You're out there for 4, 5, 6 innings instead of throwing a couple innings a week. So when you get moved to the pen, that's pretty much like a demotion. That's pretty much like, well, we're going to use you to try to win games, but we don't see you really anymore for our future. So the first 3 years, I was a starter, and I was a guy that kind of put myself on the map. Even though I was a late round draft pick, I wasn't like a prospect in the top 100 or even for my team on all those prospect lists. I was a prospect to them just because like I had potential to get better. I had a really good breaking ball. I had the size. I had everything that they needed. I just needed to show them what they wanted to see. So first year rookie ball is kind of a crapshoot. Your kids are coming from college, trying to just get adjusted to playing a game every single day, pitching every 5 days instead of once a week. So I started there, and then next year I went to Lancaster High A, which was a big adjustment for me. I didn't know anybody on the team. I had just went from rookie ball, and then there's short season A ball that they have in the New York Penn League that was one step above of where I played, and then they had low A, and then they had high A. So I skipped those and went straight to high A, playing with guys that are like 24, 25 years old. I'm 21. Like this is like tough. But I pitched well. Like my first game there, really solid. And then I went like 9 innings, gave up like 2 hits, was like the pitcher of the week, all this kind of just like hit the ground running. And if you know anything about the Cal League and like Lancaster, tough place to pitch. Like, talk about giving up some bombs. The wind blew straight out to right field. I gave up some homers that went over the freeway that's like 100 yards past the fence, like bombs. And it's a tough – this is where Appel had like a 10, where he really, really struggled. But, yeah, tough pace to pitch, but I did pretty good. Next year is when they did like the piggyback system, 8 starters, right? So I went – back to high A just because they were stacking the minor league systems. This is when Lou Now came in and they started implementing everything that he was wanting to do. This was now his second year, signing all these guys, drafting all these players just to stack the minor leagues, to teach them their way, pretty much. And the piggyback system was tough. It was tough on me. It's tough on everybody. Pitching in Lancaster where you can pitch good and have a terrible game. Absolutely terrible game. And now I'm throwing pitch starting and then coming out of the pen every 4 days. And then I have the pressure on myself because like I should be in Double A. I shouldn't be here again. And it was hard. It was hard on a lot of people. And then you see other guys having success, and then you put even more pressure on yourself because, oh, now this guy's going to get called up instead of me. And then once you do that, once you start putting pressure on your own self, in baseball, in the minor leagues, it gets hard. It's already a hard sport. It's very, very tough. But once you start putting more pressure on yourself than you need, it's tough. And you can get into some dark places. And then so they moved me to the bullpen at the end of that year. And I was like, I don't know how to be a bullpen guy. I need like 30 minutes to get ready for a game. Like, how am I going to do this? You're going to give me 10 pitches, all this. But yeah, that was kind of like a demotion, but it was a blessing. Because then I had a lot of success after that. But getting moved to the bullpen is not the greatest thing. In
how long? I mean, did it take you a little bit to be like, one is, am I gonna have another chance to be a starter, or yes. am I gonna need to embrace this role? Did anybody ever tell you like, no, this is where this is where we see you fit, and this is what we're going to ask you to do.
They didn't really say this is where I see you fit. This is just pretty much like we don't see you in our plans pretty much. Like, we need you as a pitcher because we have to have 25 guys in the minor league roster to play. But it's just like almost like letting you go without letting you go because they need you, you know. Maybe you can figure it out. So my whole thought process is how do I get back in the rotation? How do I become a starter after this? Like, you know, prove it to myself, prove it to them that, you know, like I do have the stuff, I do have what it takes, but, you know, this was my 3rd year. If you don't ball out every year outside of being a first-round draft pick, you're gone. You know, it's dog eat dog. It's a business. And every year there's at least 2, 3, 4 guys going in the first 2 rounds that they see to be their future. And if you're not one of those guys, you have to prove to them that you are a stud. And you have to pitch your ass off. You have to hit great to get called up and then eventually get called to the big leagues. You have to do something special. So when you put more pressure on yourself than even like the team is doing, it makes it tough.
I don't know, man. That would be challenging, you know, because like you said, it's already hard. It's much more of an individualized game at that point. You're competing so much with so many different guys. That's
the thing about baseball too, is it's the most individual sport that there is. Like, you need a team to win. You got to have a catcher. You have to have somebody filling the balls behind you. But baseball, one guy can win the game for you. One guy. And also one guy can lose the game for you sure. too. And trying to make it to the big leagues, trying to get up, it's all on you. Like you have all the help in the world, but you're alone a lot. Like, you see your teammates every day and you have a great time, you know, like in the locker room. You know, a lot of people cheer for each other, but most of the time nobody wants anybody else to have success because they want to get called up. Yeah. They want to go. So you're alone, man. You're alone. I've learned more in the minor leagues and I've failed more to help me succeed in life and everything that I do than I am now. Just from like the few years in the minor leagues where I struggled, that I'm so thankful for them now. In the time, poor me, I'm a victim, all this. Yeah. But like once you learn from it and you grow, that was actually like the best times I've ever had because I had the chance to learn from them.
Yeah, we were talking earlier this week about, and I don't mean it in disrespect, but I've heard high school kids talking about grinding, and you know the grind, and it's been a grind, and in high school baseball is not a grind. No. You get to go home and sleep in your house in your bed, and mom's gonna have dinner ready for you, and your electricity's paid for, and your cell phone bill.
Well, and you only do baseball for 2 hours.
Yeah, and you know, you play twice a week, or you know, not that work doesn't go into that.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between grinding.
I think that so many people nowadays they like hear the grind, and you have to grind to have success. You hear the people talking about the grind that actually went through a grind and talked about it because now they have success. So people listen to me and us talking right now about the grind, all this, so they hear, oh, we got to grind, and then they just repeat what they said. It's like, no, there's very, very few people like in the world that have grinded as much as I have. Like playing in the minor leagues, and like I say it's a grind because of the grind that I put on myself, like the pressure that I put on myself, like traveling the world, going to countries that you've never been to by yourself, doing a lot by yourself. Like, you know, now I have a family, I have a wife, all this, to where I have somebody to fall back on and talk to. You do have your friends and everything, but nobody's there in the situation for you. You're alone. You are by yourself in a place that you've never been, and you're trying to make it, and it's tough. Like, I think the biggest grind in the world is minor league baseball, for sure.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. I mean, no other sport is driving 12 hours or 14 hours on a bus with a full bus where you sit 2 to a seat anyways. So now where are you sleeping? You got guys on the ground.
But there's nothing else in the world as fun either. You have some of the best times, the best moments, the best stories that you can have forever, just because you were on that grind all together as teammates. And that's what I miss most about last year, not playing. Like, I don't really miss playing. I never missed it. I don't even really like baseball, honestly. Like, you know, like, it's been a job for me for like so long, and it's different. It's a different sport at that level. Like I say it all the time. It's not the same. But I missed my teammates and enjoying the grind with them. Like being with a bunch of
understand what you're
everybody
going
understands, dude. Like, especially in Mexico, it's like the craziest thing. These games are insane. Like fooled out. It's like a party, fiesta. And the only thing that matters down there is winning. That's it. And it's the only time in my life where I've played a sport where the number one thing was winning. Because as a kid, if you had a good game but your team didn't win, that's fine, right? You just have a good time. Junior college, you didn't win. Oh, whatever. Like, I want to get drafted. I'm trying to get signed. I'm trying to get out of here. Minor league baseball, the organization doesn't even care if you win. Yeah. It's just about the players. It's just about developing. Big leagues, now it's more about winning. But at the same time, people are trying to get paid. People are trying to set their families up. People are trying to take care of themselves. You go over to Mexico, you know, you make good money. You're treated great. But you, like as an individual now, is gone. And it's like all about the team. Because number one, you win, you make a lot more money. And it's just like the atmosphere. The fans want you to win so bad every single game. The team, the managers, everybody. It's just all about winning. You had a bad game, you don't care. Like, as long as you win the game. So I actually like kind of like fell in love with the game a little bit more. Going down there and playing, because me as an individual didn't really matter anymore. I was a piece to this puzzle that was trying to win, and I've never had as much fun as.
Well, they probably didn't care as much about what you didn't do in the States either.
No, and I mean, like I had done enough in the States to be like a name down there. Not that I'm a name, because dude, tons of big leaguers go down there. Like there's the talent down there is crazy. Like Fernando Rodney is our closer. Like dude has like 300 something saves in the big leagues. Like he's a dude. Like there's legit players down there. But I had done enough over here to like, you know, make a name for myself down there to go play.
And so you know, we'll go back and forth real quick, but you are going to play in Tijuana, right?
Yep. TJ.
And so when do you head out? Is this weekend?
I head out tomorrow.
So
I don't have a flight yet, but hopefully they give me one.
Instead of booking a flight, he's podcasting. I love it.
Hey, anytime, man. Yeah.
You know, you did get to play with the Fresno Grizzlies and actually pitched really well. You know, I've talked to some guys and no names in particular, but was there any bitterness? I mean, when you talk about falling back in love going to Mexico, like getting that close and pitching well, and to not get there, like, is there bitterness towards the game?
I mean,
or the organization?
No, not at all. So, like, the only thing that I kind of regret, and I say this a lot to people that ask me about playing here, is I wish that I would enjoyed playing here in Fresno more than I did. But like, I had blinders on. I had one goal and one goal only, and you weren't getting in my way to achieve this one goal. Like we talked about earlier, I went from being a starter to reliever, pretty much getting demoted. Then they gave me a chance at AA, pretty much said to me, let's see what you've got. This is your last chance. If you don't absolutely dominate and change our minds, this is it for you. You're going to go home now, or we're going to release you in the offseason, pretty much. So I went to AA. Actually, this started after when I first got moved to the bullpen, 2013 at the end of the year, just to like ride it out. And then 2014, I showed up in my locker spring training every day, just hoping that my jersey was still there. Because, you know, spring training, if you walk in, like, the club is going to stop you if you're released or something. So I had my head down walking through that tunnel, hoping sure nobody stopped me before I got to the locker room. And then when I did get to the locker room, if all my stuff was there, it was victory for me. And then I did everything I possibly could in that day to make myself better, to do something. And I stayed. Stayed around, end up making the team. I went back to Lancaster again, high A, for this now my third time. I wasn't even on the roster when I started 2014. I was in the bullpen. I was supposed to be in the bullpen, but I wasn't on the roster. I was inactive. So I didn't play for the first couple weeks. And the manager told me, he's like, you know, you're going to start on the inactive list. You know, I wish that it wasn't like this. You know, like I trust you more because I had played for him for the previous year, but he's like, this is just it is what it is. You know, you were the talk of spring training because I went spring training and I pitched very, very well. I earned a spot. I think that like I was on the chopping blocks to get axed, and I earned a spot. They're like, oh well, let's see what he's got. What he's got. We saw some flashes of the old Tyson. Let's see what he's got. So pitched out of the bullpen a little bit more in there, but every single day I got all I could out of that day. I went and I got like extra dry runs. I did extra practice. I did extra work every single day. Like I grinded. Then they gave me a chance in AA, and I just continued to do what I was doing. And the pitching coach in AA was Doug Brocail. Pitched 17 years in the big leagues. He was actually the big league pitching coach the previous 2 years, and now he was assistant to the GM. But the AA pitching coach had gotten sick. So Broke comes down as like just to be there until the AA pitching coach gets better. This guy changed my career, changed my life. He gave me he had so much confidence in me when I had zero confidence in myself. Zero. He'd tell me every day, he's like, dude, you're legit. Your stuff's good. And like, I didn't believe it, but he just, I don't know what he did, but like, he didn't really help me. He didn't change anything. He just instilled confidence in me that like I had lost. And I went to AA out of the bullpen, and I pitched well. And then they had me closing all the time. And I came in and I just like shut the door. And it was the most fun I've ever had. Coming out of the pen, closing, it's like the most fun time. I mean, there's a lot of guys that I play with that hate closing. They don't want to do it. It's tough. Me, I loved it. Like, I want everybody screaming at me. I want if we're going to win or lose, I want it to be on me. I don't know if I was ever like this or this was just like the time that I was, but I loved it. And I got like save after save. I think I retired like 24, 25 innings scoreless streak, retired like 20 batters in a row, like 3 saves in a row, one game. Like, it was amazing. And I remember I went back to back to back one game, and the third game, all the dudes were there. You know, like all like the GMs, and yeah, they're all there. And I strike out the side, and I'm like, let's go. I'm here. Like, I'm back. And then I went to the fall league that year, dominated the fall league. I think I was like the best pitcher there. I'm not trying to brag or anything, but this is like, I put in work. I went there, I think I took like 15 innings, gave up 1 run, like 4 hits or something. Like, I just dominated. And this is supposed to be the best of the best minor league players. Next year, they bring me early, pretty much to big league camp, but not on the roster, so they don't have to pay me like that $1,200 a month. But I pitched in pretty much like all of my outings were in big league camp. Like, I was there the whole time. Then they invited me to the exhibition game in Houston. I went with the team. You know, I got treated like a big leaguer, you know, show flight, all this stuff. It was amazing, but I continued to grind. This wasn't just like, oh, like I made it, now I can rest. Like, this was just a part of me now. I knew what I had to do to get better. I had learned from all my mistakes, and now I was doing it. Went to Houston, and they pretty much said, like, just keep doing what you're doing. And AJ Hinch, like, he was actually the reason why I went, because like I kind of caught his eye, and he was like, you should have been in big league camp with us, but it was kind of like a numbers game. So he brought me up every opportunity that he could. I pitched, and he took me with him to the exhibition game. And then like I just continued to have success when I came to Fresno. And like I said, like I had blinders on. I learned from all the veterans that are coming up and down. Like, I was the only, me and another guy were the only ones that didn't have big league time. And I was playing with guys that had 4, 5, 6 years big league time, just learning from them every single day. And I was the dude in the bullpen amongst all these big leaguers. I was the one that the manager called down for the 9th. I was the one there was 2 outs in the 8th. He had me up. So like whenever that happens, it just instills so much confidence in you that the manager has confidence in you. And once you know that the manager has confidence in you, there's nothing that you can't do. So I just, continue to do good. And the PCL is a tough league. It's hard. Very, very hard. Ball flies everywhere. And playing here in Fresno, you have to fly out, and you're losing 2 hours, and you have a connecting flight everywhere you go. So you're playing a night game, 4 a.m. bus to the hotel, flying 2 hours in a connector, at a connecting flight, and now you're losing 2 hours. Show up, you land 2 to 4 p.m., pretty much go straight to the field, and you're playing the game. It's a grind, and you're doing this all year. But I mean, like I said, like I was locked in every day. I got what I could out of that day. So like all my family came to the game, and I would see them. I would see my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife and stuff. But like I didn't want to see any of my friends. I didn't want to do that. Like I didn't really enjoy it like I wish I would have now. But like looking back, I don't know if I would have had the same success. So, you know, I made the All-Star team, just continued to have success there. My agent would call me like all the times, like next week, be ready, all this, like they're gonna call you up, all this. But at the time, the Astros, this is when they like started to get good, and they had like one of the best bullpens in the league. There was no room for me. Like I said, that there's only 25 guys on that roster. Somebody has to get booted for you to go. They're not going to get rid of somebody who's having success up there just because like, hey, we got this kid in AAA. We want to see what he's got. That's not how it works. You can be the best pitcher in the world. If there's not a spot for you, you don't get called up. That's just all there is. So I went to the All-Star game, pitched well there, just had a great time. My agent calls me again. He's like, hey, I just talked to Quentin. He was the farm director at the time, and he said that he'll be in Fresno next week. He hopes that he doesn't see me when I'm there, meaning that like I was going to get called up. So, and I didn't really care. I was just like, whatever. I'm just going to keep continuing what I'm doing because I'm in a good spot right now, having success. I was still there when he came, obviously, and I talked to Quentin one night like I had just through, pitched really well, just kept continuing to do what I was doing. And then Quentin after the game said, just keep doing what you're doing. You've put yourself in a great spot. If it's not soon, it'll be September. You know, like saying that he's proud of me and all this, because he was the guy that like pretty much told me, hey, if you don't show me what you got, like you're out of here. We're going to let you go. Yeah. Like he was honest, because there's a lot of BS that happens in pro ball. Everybody tells you what they want you to hear. It's not. He was like, this is how it is. And he was honest with me. And so he was like proud of me, like for that. And he was like, you know, like, I'm proud of you. Like you've done it. You've earned it. Just sit back. You know, like, it's going to come for you. And that night we flew to Iowa, and that's when my form was a little tight. Went to the game the next day and asked the trainer to work on it. Nothing crazy. You know, you just have to deal with this during a baseball season. You never feel good. You're always have aches and pains. It's just something that I thought was normal. Asked for a day from the pitching coach. He's like, yeah, you're good. Next day I had to ask for another day. It was still tight. Couldn't really let it go. And then on the third day, I just said I was good. Whatever. Like it's just like a soreness. And the manager saw me just constantly stretching it, constantly rubbing on it, and he called me in the office and we just had a little talk about it, and he made me see the doctor on the road because I had passed all the tests that they did, put your hands together, all this stuff, for your elbow, and I had passed them all. So the doctor came and saw me there in the locker room. I'd still pass all the tests. He's like, yeah, it's probably just like a flexor strain or whatever, but we can order you an MRI if you want to do it here. And we were about to go back home, and our trainer was like, no, we'll get one back home when we go tomorrow. So I went and got the MRI. And when you're a pro athlete, it's crazy. You get the results simple. Right now,
no X-ray first, straight to the MRI.
Dude, if the average
7
person
days.
goes and gets an MRI first, it'll take them weeks to get an appointment, and then it's 2 weeks for you to get the results because they're like, oh, it takes a longer, all this, whatever. I had them in an hour after. I get the MRI, they had the results. Our trainer was looking at them when we were back at the field, and they had sent him to the Houston doctor, and they're like, yeah, it's a 70% tear in there, and I was just like, I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what to do. I was like, why me? Why? I'm so close. They literally told me, and I even had conversations with my agent. It's what if I just don't say anything? What if I just wear it? What if I just pop a pain pill or something, just go out there and wear it? I could probably still throw the ball a little bit, and then if I get called up, just keep doing it. But maybe it'll just heal itself. I don't know. Maybe I could just pitch with it. But it was a tough time, man. Tough time, and then. Eventually I had to have surgery. I had surgery August 22nd. The AAA National Championship was on August 20th. No, I had surgery on the 23rd. The AAA National Championship was on the 22nd, so I missed it when the Grizzlies won the national. I wasn't even there for that, but they said I wouldn't have been there anyways. But Yeah, man, it was tough. I had surgery, and then I had like a lot of complications after that. I ended up having to have another surgery, but once I got back, I was back in pitching in less than a year. And then like the Astros, they didn't give up on me. 2017 when I came back, they invited me to big league camp. They said, you would have been here. We still believe in you. We still see you in our plans. And 2017 wasn't a very good year for me, but not because I didn't have a chance. They gave me every chance in the world. I just didn't perform. And then, yeah, that's kind of how it happened.
With that, I mean, I had Tommy John, but not like in the sense of where you were. But did you ever have that in the back of your head? Because I know how hard the rehab is and grinding, and having that focus still of, man, my shot's over now. Did you ever have that in your head?
No, because I had talked to everybody, and they give me the confidence that I was going to still have a chance when I got back. And I did. All the promises that they made, I did. They gave me every opportunity in the world. Like, I was still one of their guys. It was just weird because, like, after Tommy John, I felt great. I went to spring training 2017, and I pitched awesome. They were like, yeah, like, so when I got sent, I never got sent down from big league camp to minor league camp. When big league camp ended, I just went to the minor league to AAA Fresno. And when they sent me after, like, you have a meeting with Lou now and the pitching coach and AJ Hinch, all that, they just said, anytime, it could be like the first week, it could be opening day, just be ready because you're going to be one of the first guys up. And my first outing, I think I had a pretty good outing, and I had games where it was the hardest I'd ever thrown. I'd be sitting like 93, 95. I hadn't thrown that hard in my career. I'm like a 91, 92 guy, 90 miles an hour. I don't have anything crazy, but I'd be throwing just great. And I'm like, oh, I'm back, baby, all this. And then like the next game, we throwing like 87. And like I'm looking at the numbers because, the Astros had all the track, man. You have so much data. It's crazy. We could do a whole podcast episode just on data and the stuff that just like the way the big leagues is going. It's crazy. But I'd look at the numbers from the TrackMan and everything, and it's like 87. I'm like, what the heck? What's going on? My curveball, which is normally like a pretty hard, like 82, 83, like hard curveball, it's like 74. I'm like, what is going on? Like, I feel great. Normal pitches that get swing and miss or barely contact, or now I'm giving up hits. And I don't know what was going on. Then like the game after, because it's cold in April, right? It's tough time to play baseball. Baseball when it's cold is tough. So I just thought it was because it was cold, like it'll come back, but didn't really do that. But there'd be games where I'd be back up to like 93, 94. And then after that, I'd be like 88. I'm like, what's going on? And like the trainer's just like, this just is what it is. Like, it normally takes 2 years after Tommy John for you to become back normal to how you were. And I just, it was just tough for me to take, and started putting a lot more pressure on myself because I was supposed to be one of the first guys called up. And like every day I'm like, I have to be ready because like I'm supposed to be called up to the big leagues. I'm supposed to be in the big leagues because they literally told me in my meeting, you're supposed to be here. And I wasn't because of an injury. It wasn't my fault, whatever it is. But then we go back to the pressure that you put on yourself. I put more pressure on myself than any other person did. The organization, they didn't put any pressure on me. I did it all to myself. And then pretty much stayed in AAA all of 2017, and that was the end of I would have been a free agent after that. So they just released me at the end of the year, and yeah, it's tough. It was tough.
But I mean, most organizations probably aren't that patient, or maybe not that patient, but maybe not give you an opportunity back that quickly.
Well, yeah, because I was 25 when I had the surgery, and I think you're missing a whole year, so I was 27 when I came back. Now you're old. 27, and for you to be in the big leagues is now like probably the average age. You have 21, 22-year-old guys signing like 30-year deals, right? Like it's just they want like that young talent that they can have under control for like so long. Not to say that guys don't make it. A lot of guys get called up 28, 29 years old, like for the first time. But you do have a limit to how many pitches you have, or like an age limit to when they're going to call you up. All this, but they still gave me every opportunity, and I still had confidence going in that they did. But then once the season started and I started to not be the dude I was, because I was a dude. Like, I dominated the minor league system that whole time. So once I started to struggle a little bit, I didn't know how to handle it. And it got tough.
How are you feeling now, though? I mean, obviously, you're still going back and playing. And
yeah, I'm back to normal. My arm feels great. I mean, it doesn't feel great. It never feels great ever. But like, I never
good
had
enough
any,
to go compete, though.
Yeah, I never had any elbow issues after that. I never had any elbow issues. I was never even on the DL ever. This was the only time I went on the DL was when I had Tommy John, and I missed the whole year. But yeah, I tried indie ball 2018. I was there for a month. I said, hell no, this is trash. Indie ball is, I don't know how people play indie ball.
Right? Okay. Finally, somebody agrees with me. It's a joke.
It's a joke, yeah.
Unless you're playing in the Atlantic League.
Yeah, but even that's it's a joke too. Just because you're playing with some guys that have never played minor league baseball or never played pro ball, and they just don't get it.
But they think
they
they're
don't
pros.
get it. Yeah, and that's the problem is like the atmosphere in an indie ball locker room is not good. And like, if you're a dude trying to get signed back, especially if like you're supposed to be in the big leagues, all that just kind of like brings you down. It's like not what you need. So the TJ had been in contact with me like the whole time, trying to sign me, like throwing more money at me, and I was like, hey, this is a lot. Like, should I just go? And I was thinking, like, I was so close to the big leagues. All I got to do, because like at the end of the year, I started like dominating. Like, I had some like the best stuff I ever had. Like, I was sitting 95 some games. I had never thrown that hard in my life. And I was like, if I could just get signed back, I can get back to the big leagues. I can get back to where I was. So I tried indie ball for a month. I'm like, there's no way I'm getting signed off of this team. This team is it's not good. So I was like, all right, well, maybe I'll just go down to Mexico and see. And a guy that I had played with for the Astros and A-ball and stuff, he was on the roster. So I called him and talked to him. He's like, dude, it's great. You got to come. It's fun. So I was like, all right. I went, and yeah, it was the most fun I've ever had, and been there ever since.
Heading back tomorrow, probably.
Tomorrow, yeah. If they send me a flight, which these Mexicans, man, dude, it is you. I'll send you guys like some pictures and videos of like stuff that goes on. Our bat boy's a little midget, and he thinks he's a freaking caballo. Like, he's the man. He freaking walks around like his shit don't stink. He's the bad dude. He's fun. He freaking big leagues everybody. It's fun. It's a shit show, but it's fun. Super pro, super professional. Omar Vizquel is our manager. So like, you know, he's gonna run it super pro. All this, they give you everything. Our owner is actually part owner of the Padres too. So he knows, like, he's actually an American citizen too. Great guy. Wants us to have everything that we need. Like, we get treated like kings over there. Not every team does. Some teams do kind of suck. Like, if you think about what the Mexican League is, there's some teams that are like that. But like TJ, no, like the stadium's legit. You get treated super good. It's super pro. Like, same as Mexico City, they have a legit big league stadium. Monterrey is where like they play the Mexican series, like the Astros and Angels played there. So there's a lot of good teams, a lot of good stuff. But then there is some like smaller teams in smaller areas that aren't that great, and those road trips are a grind. Like, in the middle of Mexico, just like, what are we doing?
tight highways.
Oh my gosh! There was one trip we were literally on the. There was an accident on the sideway, so these guys just made their own road, like off the middle of nowhere, going like the middle of the mountains. We're like, where are we going? Like, it's crazy, man. It is. It's a different world over there. It's not even close, especially when you're there like all the time, and it's different, man. It's different. But I don't live there. We have an apartment across the border in Imperial Beach in the San Diego area. So my wife gets to come with me. She loves it because our back door is the beach. You know, it's a great time, and you know, like, a van comes and picks us up, takes us to the game, brings us back. So it's fun, man. TJ is the best place to play, but I wouldn't live in TJ. It's sketch.
Yeah, I haven't been there in years, but yeah, it was rough when I was there. So it's
fun, man. Those games are.
I'm white,
crazy.
so I'm not going. I get treated that badly.
No, they won't.
No
they'll
way.
just you know, like, kind of take more money from you. Like, they'll just say something costs like $20 and it's normally like 20 pesos. They'll just get money out of you. But like, it's not. I mean, I guess it could be dangerous, but it's more of what makes it TJ so bad is there's just like a bunch of different cartels and they're just kind of like turf war. So if you're involved in any of that, then yes, it's dangerous. But they're not just going to go after like some average person just because. It's yeah.
That's another podcast too that we're gonna have to dive into.
Yeah, we do. But I wanted to get into. I mean, can we still do anything?
We got a couple minutes. I want to hear.
Well, I want to hear the roping.
Well, yeah, I was going to say
he was a 3-sport athlete in high school, but he grew up.
How close is the passion for baseball
to roping?
And roping? How?
Okay, so I would say the order of my favorite sports is golf at the top, then roping, rodeo. And then I would say like football, basketball, and then baseball. That's like my list because like baseball is my job. Like when I like watch a game, it's like not the same. Not that I don't like baseball. It's just like things different. Like I want to be entertained. I want to not know like what's gonna happen. Like I kind of want to just like if I'm going to a concert, like I want to be entertained or something. But yeah, roping's up there. It's just something that I've done my whole life, and I've been able to do like the last couple of years more. Because I wasn't under contract to where you can't even walk down the street or you can't have any fun when you're under a contract with a big league team. But for the last couple of years, I haven't been. So I've been able to live. I've been just like last year, I didn't get to play. So I went to the lake for the first time since I was a kid. Got to do some wakeboarding, try to jump the wakes, have fun and just eat and shit. But but roping and golf are by far my two favorite things to do.
You're pretty good at roping. I don't know how golf, but I know roping because you and I both took a class together after late in our lives to finish school, and we were supposed to teach the class some kind of different kind of sport. And I did ladder ball, and then he brought his rope and did roping and stuff. Yeah. And it's no joke. He's freaking. He's pretty legit with the rope.
It's fun. It's something that I've done since I was a kid. I don't really remember learning. I've just always done it because my dad is one of the most talented people on this earth, and I'm just blessed to be his son. He's one of those guys that's good at everything. Like people get mad at me because like, oh, like everything's easy for you. You get good at stuff. It's like how do you think I feel when my dad's still beating me at stuff? He's like 60 years old. But yeah, he was one of the best ropers like around. Still is. My mom is. She grew up around it. Loves horses. She just has a talent that nobody else does when it comes to animals, when it comes to understanding stuff. And so like since I was a kid, that's just all I did. We went to family ropings, we roped. I was one of the kids that like everybody wanted to rope with or like, saw that was good or anything like that. But yeah, it's fun. I wouldn't say that I'm great at it. I'd say that I'm better than most people that do it.
I can't do it, so you're great at it. So
yeah.
Get the
Well, I mean, I can't even throw it around my head because you have to do like a certain freaking wrist thing.
While riding a horse and getting out.
The horse would be like,
but I think that's
you
funny
ain't getting on me, bro. You're too big to get on me.
Well, I'm saying like with the baseball being down here, like sprint car racing's for me is above baseball.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I think something that you don't have like.
Well, you do for a job.
Exactly. Like you just go to a race and you enjoy it, just like golf. Like now with the Masters, like.
Sorry, you're missing it. By the way.
And Kenny, no, you're good. Like me and Kenny, like this is like our favorite week of the year. Like he plays in the NFL. I've played baseball for like the last 10 years, like our job. But like golf, like anything like to get you away from like your job, just like everybody else. Like even though I love it and I'm like in the game and stuff, golf just does something for us. Like some people think it's dumb, some people don't like it, but like I could watch golf all day. It's weird. And like growing up, so I grew up rodeoing and doing all that, have a blast. I still love it. But golf, I didn't grow up around golf. I didn't get into golf till like I was at City. I still didn't really know what it was, but then when I got into pro ball, I can get my own clubs, I can do this, and I just fell in love with it. Like I could play every day if I could. And if you paid me to golf and rope, just like a minimum wage golf or job, I'd golf and rope all day. I'd be putting in 80 hours a week.
You did compete with your mother in 2017.
Yeah. Me and my mom won some money 10? There. Yeah, we won like a consolation round at some big because at some big rodeo. It's not a rodeo. It's just like a kind of like a family deal. It's just like golf with like a handicap system. You can rope with somebody based on like a certain number. So we won some pretty good money down in Vegas during the NFR when everybody's there. But rodeo is growing huge. Like you can go and win as like just an average Joe. You can go and win $200,000-$300,000 at one of these ropings.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So you're gonna teach me that roping trick? Or?
Yeah, I'll teach you. I'll teach anybody, man. I'll teach anybody anything.
So no, I appreciate you coming to do this, especially knowing you got to leave and go, get ready to go play some baseball.
That's 7th on the list.
Yeah, exactly.
It becomes number one quick though.
It's a good story, man. I think again another guy that offers so much to especially young players and people that may not have known, and again another guy that's around here locally that has a great story to share. So I appreciate you taking some time to come out and do this.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
1 Degree podcast. I'm sure it's on all the same platforms, iTunes, Spotify. I listen to it on Spotify.
Yeah.
Go check it out. Get some great. Tyler Bray's on there. Max Stassi, your first guest, Mr. Kemp.
Tony Kemp
is a great one. So lots of really, really good guests. Chad wasn't lying. And again, we're just cross promoting podcasts. It's a good thing.
That's it, man. Once you're into podcasts, there's literally nothing else. Like I don't even really like listening to the radio or like regular music.
Same here.
It's either like a book or a podcast or something that brings you a little bit more value versus listening to like WAP or like booty shaking song or something. Like that's just bringing you down.
Yeah.
Like and that's what the majority of the world does, and that's why the majority of the people just complain about their situation because of like how they live, and it's not like that. Like if you just keep saying you're like poor me, or you're like I just don't have stuff, or you're like I can't do what I want because I have bills or all this, you just have all these excuses. That's just you telling you that you can't, which anybody can do anything. There's nothing like me coming from like a small town and like playing baseball and like becoming the person that I am. Anybody can do that. This is not just because like I'm talented or I have the size or I'm good. Like anybody can do whatever they want to do. Like me and Kenny talk about this all the time. It's like he was made to play football. He's huge. Like this is what he was like made to do. Like other people in the world are made to do something. You have some sort of gift. Just like figure out what it is and don't tell yourself that you can't do it. It's pretty easy.
Good advice there too. Again, I appreciate it, man.
Of course.
And good luck to you. Travel safe. And I definitely want pictures and videos.
Yeah.
You guys
100%.
I'll send it to you.
And then when you get back, we got to do this again.
Yeah, we got to have a part 2, go over
for
more
sure.
of the analytics stuff and all that.
And more rodeo stuff.
Yeah.
More rodeo stuff. I love it. Again, travel safe, man. And good luck this season. Stay healthy. And it's another episode of the Hit or Die podcast.
Hit or Die.